Christmas time, so this month's videos will all be Christmas related. There'll also be some short Christmassy videos which will come out randomly. Please subscribe to my channel so you can also watch these. This video shows the main sights in The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens and gives an overview of the story. Please give me comments about how you celebrate Christmas and if you've ever known someone like Scrooge. Special thanks to London Walking Tours, whose website is given in the description. They provide free route location for this route, plus also guided walks. Also linked in the description is the movie so you can watch it at your leisure. It's well worth watching. However, please watch my video first because I really do need the view hours. Dickens doesn't state exactly where many of the scenes are set, however they can be deduced. The film starts with the sound of church bells which come from St Paul's Church in Greenwich. Quickly moves to a key area of the movie, which is Scrooge's counting house. It's very hard to find where his counting house was, but I found this instead. Merry Christmas. Bah humbug. Scrooge agrees to give his assistant Bob Cratchit Christmas Day off, but says he is being robbed because he has to pay even though he's getting no service. His nephew Fred visits and invites Scrooge to Christmas dinner, but he declines and says it's all humbug. After work, Scrooge visits a Royal Exchange to discuss a deal for corn where he puts the price up by 5%. The buyers are forced to take the offer. He is then asked to give money to charity and declines firmly. Scrooge then goes home and the main part of the movie starts. His first visitor is Jacob Marley, who was his business partner until he died. Marley has been forced to walk the earth in purgatory to make amends for his life in which he lacked social responsibility and was indifferent to the well-being of others. He's forced to walk the earth with chains, cash boxes and ledger books. He desperately wants to make amends by helping the poor and needy, but he's unable to do so. On the 7th anniversary of his death on Christmas Eve, the ghost of Jacob Marley appears to Scrooge in his room to inform him that 3 ghosts will visit that night and to warn him that Scrooge will suffer the same fate as Marley if he doesn't change. The ghost of Christmas Past comes just as a nearby church strikes 1 a.m. Christmas Past shows him his childhood, which was very lonely because his father was distant and his mother died when he was young. He went to a boarding school where he spent his time reading rather than playing with his friends. He was very close to his sister, and she convinced their father that Scrooge should move home, but it was only for a few days, after which he started an apprenticeship. The job was good because he fell in love with the daughter of the business owner. He is seen enjoying a Christmas party and being smitten. However, Scrooge became obsessed with business and money whilst forgetting his sweetheart, and so eventually she left him. Soon after this, his sister died, and that was the start of Scrooge as we know him. At 2 a.m. the church bell rings, and now the ghost of Christmas present arrives. The first place they visit is Bob Cratchit's house. His wife is preparing a very small goose for their Christmas dinner, because that's all they can afford. Cratchit gives thanks to Scrooge for the money to buy the food, but his wife explains that Scrooge isn't a good boss. Scrooge asks whether Tiny Tim, the crippled son of Cratchit, will live, and is told that without money for doctors he will soon die. Christmas Present then takes Scrooge to his nephew's house, where he, his wife and their guests are all talking and laughing about Scrooge. They then play a word game called Simile. Everyone gives correct answers, but Fred says to his wife, "As tight as?" She can't think of an answer, and so says Scrooge. The correct answer is as tight as a drum. Christmas Present then takes Scrooge to an underpass that is filled with people living on the streets. Scrooge asks why these people live such difficult lives and why they can't go to the poorhouse. Christmas Present explains the reality of life in the poorhouse and that his refusal to give charity is making this worse. The ghost then abandons him in the underpass, and he is very scared. The final ghost is Christmas Future. Scrooge is initially not sure what is happening. There was a dead man in his bed, however nobody seems sad at his passing. Street people are more interested in selling his clothes, and business friends will only go to the funeral if food is served. Scrooge gets upset that nobody cares for this person and demands to see some compassion. Christmas Future takes him to Cratchit's house where they are mourning, but they are mourning Tiny Tim's death. Christmas Future takes Scrooge to the cemetery, and he realises that it was his death and that nobody would care. Scrooge wakes up the next morning and asks the boy what day it is. He replies, "Christmas Day." Scrooge then realises that the three ghosts have been in the same night. He tells the boy that if he gets the big turkey in the market, he'll give him a tip. The boy soon returns with the butcher and the large turkey. He tips the boy and pays the butcher to deliver the turkey to the Cratchit house. He tips the butcher but tells him he must not tell anyone who the turkey comes from. He walks down Cornhill and tips some carol singers before bumping into the two men who asked him for money for the poor the previous evening. He denotes a large undisclosed sum of money. He carries on walking until he arrives at his nephew's house. Much to the surprise of Fred and his wife, he asks if he can join them for Christmas dinner. The next day, which is Boxing Day, Cratchit was late to work. Scrooge pretended to be upset with him and then surprised him by doubling his wages and promising to take care of Tiny Tim.